Good morning. What's the deal, pickles? Is everything kosher? Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Marlon Bennett, guys, and I'm back for another weekly dose of motivation, encouragement, and inspiration, guys. I hope that this video finds all you guys in a great place. And guys, today we're gonna talk about motivation, encouragement, and inspiration. And I hope you guys are plugging into a daily dose of these things, by the way, okay? Because we all need it, right? And it really is like the fuel that actually that powers the vehicle, right? When it comes to us getting up in the morning or whenever you get up or doing the things that you need to do on a regular basis. Everybody needs a little inspiration, encouragement, and motivation, guys. And so today, guys, we're going to have a little lesson in aerodynamics, okay? We're going to talk about aerodynamics and what actually makes a plane fly, right? Because I never really understood it, even though I used to jump out of planes. It seems to me like it would have helped if I kind of understood what makes the plane fly. I don't know. I don't know how relevant it is. Anyway, but I'm going to talk about aerodynamics, what makes a plane fly, and how those same dynamics actually play into our everyday lives, guys, as we go out and on our quest to accomplish whatever it is we want to accomplish, whatever it may be. If it's making money from home, starting your own business, if it's starting your own brick and mortar type business, if it's getting in better shape, if it's eating better, if it's becoming a better father, a better husband, a better son, a better daughter, a better friend, right? Whatever you want to accomplish as you go out on your day-to-day basis and you make the plans for the day and you set out on that journey to accomplish that thing, there are certain dynamics that actually exist, whether we really pay attention to it or not, in the background. And I want to talk about that and how when you use the analogy of aerodynamics and what makes a plane fly, how these very same dynamics actually play into our everyday lives, right? And the four dynamics, or the four forces of flight, should I say, are weight, their lift, their drag, and their thrust. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. The four dynamics of flight is weight, lift, drag, and thrust. Think about that, guys. Let's think about that for a minute. You got weight. So everything on Earth has weight. The forces come from gravity pulling down on objects. To fly an aircraft needs something to push it in the opposite direction from gravity, right? The weight is an object controls how, with a rate of knowledge controls how strong the push has to be. A kite needs a lot less upward push than a jumbo jet does. But weight, right? You need that. A plane needs that to be able to fly, but it needs it in conjunction with the lift, the thrust, and the drag. Okay, so when you talk about the lift is the push that lets something move up. It is the force that is the opposite of weight, right? The force that's the opposite of weight. Everything that flies must have lift. For an aircraft to move forward, it must have more lift than weight, right? A hot air balloon has it, a lift, because the hot air inside, the lighter is lighter than the air around it. The hot air rises, it carries the balloon with it, right? A helicopter lift comes from the rotor blades at the top of the helicopter. That motion through the air moves the helicopter upward. Lift in an airplane comes from its wings. Okay, but you understand, right? That the push, right? A push is need it to work in conjunction with the weight to make the plane fly. That's the second component. Okay, number three, guys, we got the drag, right? Drag is the force that tries to slow something down, right? It makes it hard for an object to move. You guys know what drag is, right? It is harder to walk, to run through water, right, than through air. That's because water causes more drag than air does, okay? So you got your drag. Now you got your thrust, guys. Thrust is the force that is the opposite of drag. Thrust is the push that moves something forward. For an aircraft to keep moving forward, it must have more thrust than drag. Put it that way, right? Anyway, if you guys want to read this, go Google it, pull it up. So, why am I talking about aerodynamics as it relates to motivation, inspiration, encouragement, and being able to sort of make a sort of a plan every day that you're able to move through effortlessly to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish for that particular day, right? Because if you think about it, every day we encounter one of these four forces that make it possible to fly. To fly, right? Fly. That means spread your wings, right? Take flight. Reach for the stars. Those dynamics, those four components are weight, lift, drag, and thrust. Every day in your life, I don't care what it is you're doing, you experience some type of weight, right? Something that comes from gravity, this force that comes from gravity, right? Pulling down on you, right? It's pulling down on you. It's something you might be really concerned about. That's got you worried, and it's kind of pulling you down. Sometimes it can interfere with your day-to-day operations of what it is you want to do. So you experience some type of dynamic where this analogy we're talking about now, where we're talking about flight. So we're talking about where weight is concerned. And lift, right? Guys, we all get that every day too. Something happens. You see something on TV. You go into a convenience store or a grocery store or a barber shop or wherever you are in your day-to-day move, and somebody will say something, or you'll say something, or you'll interact with somebody, and you get a lift from that thing, right? Whatever it is, you get a lift from it every single day. Think about it. Really look at what's going on in your life. And I promise you guys, every single day you experience lift on some level. Now let's talk about the drag, guys, because we all experience the drag too, right? It's almost like, the drag is almost like the weight, right? Remember how these all work together, right? These are the dynamics of what makes it possible for a plane to fly. So the drag can come from any number of things, right? It's a force that tries to slow something down. We deal with all types of forces, guys, not to get too philosophical, but sometimes it's psychological, sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's mental. Whatever the case may be, sometimes we all experience drag on some level on a day-to-day basis, right? And of course, last but not least, we got thrust, right? Now that's the force that is the opposite of drag. Thrust is the push that moves something forward. Thrust is the force that moves you forward, believe it or not. Now, your motivation, your inspiration, your encouragement, right? What your perspective is on whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, whoever it is you are, whatever it is you aspire to be. That motivation, all those things combined is going to create the thrust that you need to continue to do it. To continue to move forward in spite of the drag, in spite of the weight, right? Because when you put these things together, guys, let's look at something. This is what makes it possible to fly. Look over here on the right-hand side. Okay, there's your drag. There's your weight. There's your thrust. And now there's the lift. That's what makes it possible for a plane to take off and take flight. That's what's going to make it possible for you to take off and take flight. Every single day, although you experience some form of drag, weight, thrust, and lift, if you think about it, they work in conjunction with each other to take you where it is you want to be, which is why you constantly want to be feeding yourself positivity, motivation, inspiration, encouragement. Doesn't matter where you get it from, right? But you want to be feeding it to you, right? I know you guys heard me say many times before. When I was younger, my mom used to tell me all the time, you are what you eat. And of course, I thought I was going to become a cookie. And so I was always looking in the mirror, seeing if I was, in fact, becoming a cookie because I ate so many cookies. And we know that that's not what my mom meant. Like myself, she was the master of metaphors, the Aristotle of analogies, and the king of cliches. And so she used to speak that way, but it was always a lesson to be learned in it. And what she simply meant was the fact that what we put into our minds, guys, what we feed ourselves, we will become a product of that thing, right? So when we talk about the aerodynamics of what make a plane fly or capable of taking flight, those same dynamics are actually present in our everyday lives, whether we notice or not. And when you know that they are, when you're conscious of that, right? When you're conscious of those dynamics, you can't really change them all the time, but you can kind of, if you know what they are and you know that everybody experiences them, and when you know that it actually takes each and every one of these components, that dynamic, to make it capable for you to do what it is you need to do. There are people who probably don't believe in what it is you're doing. They probably think you're crazy because you're doing it, particularly when it comes to internet marketing. That can be a drag. That can be something, a weight that kind of pulls you down, right? But let's talk about the thrust and the lift, because you don't really need validation from anybody to accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. What you need to do is chart a course, a destiny, a path, right? Reach for the stars and just continue on that path to make that thing happen. And so when we talk about the lift and the thrust, that's going to come from you and what you feed yourself, right? If that makes sense, right? So try to stay in a place and try to stay in a space where you're always feeding yourself that positive stuff, and know that drag, weight, they're going to be present. But on the other side of that, guys, are the thrust and the lift. And I tell you what, you may not be as good as you once was, but you can be as good once as you ever was, right? That's a country song. I love that country song, guys. But I may not be as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. All it takes is being good once every day, as you ever were, right? And you can fly, guys. Okay. Anyway, I hope that kind of made sense, guys, this analogy. But anyway, that's my weekly dose or daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And guys, I don't know when it will be, but you can believe this. It will be in the next 7 days when we'll get back to another weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. Thanks for sitting in, guys. Enjoy your day. Do something cool for somebody, guys, and reach for the stars.